Francis ndi umunyamakuru w'imikino kuri Radio Imanzi nge nk'umusportif nifatanije n'abanyarwanda bose kwibuka ku nshuro ya 28 Jenoside yakorewe abatutsi 1994.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
This is Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umuganwa. The headlines. Ambassador Claver Gatete has presented his letters of credence to the Govenor General of Jamaica. The government of Rwanda has asked diplomatic corps to play their part in fighting genocide ideologies and denials. The police in Rutshuru district have arrested 3 illegal mineral dealers with 38 kilograms of casterite. The European Union will halt military training in Mali but will keep a presence in the Sahel. Now the news in detail. Ambassador Claver Gatete has virtually presented his letters of credence to Patrick Allen, the Governor General of Jamaica, appointing him as High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda to Jamaica. Shortly before presenting his credentials to the Governor General, Ambassador Gatete had a brief meeting with Senator Kamina Johnson, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade of Jamaica. They exchanged on areas of bilateral cooperation such as sports, tourism and development. The virtual presentation preceded the arrival on Wednesday, April 13th, of President Paul Kagame for his state visit to Jamaica. The government of Rwanda has asked diplomatic corps in the country to play their part in fighting genocide ideologies and denial. The call was made as diplomats met with officials from Rwanda's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, as well as the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement. In the years since the end of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, the international community has worked to acknowledge its role in the atrocities committed and avoid repeating the mistakes that were made when nothing was done to prevent them, despite the numerous warning signs that were visible in the build-up to the fastest genocide recorded in human history. Dr. Bizimana Damascene, the Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, pointed out that in 1999 the UN formed a commission that examined the mistakes that were made, and it was concluded that the UN ignored the evidence it had been given that the government of Rwanda and its army were preparing genocide. The Belgian Senate also prepared a similar report in 1997, and their Prime Minister came in Rwanda in the year 2000 and asked for forgiveness. The African Union also carried out its research that year, and even the ambassadors that participated in the discussions admitted that there are blatant incidents of evidence being ignored and not being followed up on. Dr. Bizimana noted that every year they will hold meetings like this to look at the lessons that were learned and also plan for the future, using the lessons of the 1994 to prevent similar things from happening elsewhere in the world. The umbrella organization of the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, Ibuka, is pushing for the appeal of a court case in which Belgian troops are accused of abandoning Tutsis to the men with machetes. Specifically, 2,000 Tutsis were murdered by Interahamwe militias as the former École Technique Officier Kicukiro just hours after the Belgian UN peacekeepers who were tasked to guard them pulled out on April 11, 1994. During the commemoration of Etochi Tuchiro victims on Monday, Ejide Nguranga, the president of Ibuka, said that several years ago the civil society lodged a court case accusing the Belgian government for abandoning people who were hiding there. However, the court did not rule in their favor, instead shifting blame to the UN. The civil society accused the Belgian government of having forced the UN to withdraw its troops. Muranga told mourners on Monday at Nyanza Genocide Memorial that the group of experts in the civil society were not satisfied by the court decision and are currently making in-depth research to support their appeal. As part of the research, he disclosed the Belgian experts came to Rwanda in the first quarter of 2022, visited Etochi Tuchiro and other genocide memorials, and interviewed more genocide survivors, among other research activities. Upon conclusion of their findings, according to Nguranga, the experts will appeal the case and ask for the compensation of the victims' families. The Speaker of Parliament, Donatil Mukabadisa, appealed for Rwandans to remain resilient, saying, "We were abandoned by the international community, but the sons of Rwanda came to our rescue, stopped the genocide and crushed the enemy at once," she said at the commemoration event at Nyanza Genocide Memorial. "We should draw a lesson from this," she added, "that the development, security and the unity of Rwanda shall be guaranteed by Rwandans." Etochi Tuchiro holds a strong chapter in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi due to the memory of the victims murdered in cold blood after UN troops abandoned them. In 1994, over 2,000 Tutsis camped at Etochi Tuchiro under the protection of the Belgian UN troops. The Belgian contingent formed the backbone of the United Nations Assistance Mission for Rwanda. The troops, however, pulled out of Rwanda on April 11, 1994, following the murder of 10 Belgian soldiers by government forces. A total of 97 Belgian peacekeepers based at Etochi Tuchiro were ordered to fly back home, leaving Tutsi refugees at the mercy of the marauding militia. The French government is mulling ways that will see at least 2 suspects of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi tried every year as part of the efforts to give justice to the over 1 million victims. The move, according to the ambassador of France to Rwanda, Antoine Amfray, comes at a time France is making up for the time lost while denying the magnitude of her responsibilities in Rwanda's dark history. "Normally we should have a trial every 6 months. Maybe it's not enough, but this is significant, he added. "This is an effort which is both encouraged by the executive, but also the police play their role in it, and the judiciary plays a role in it, so that the French and Rwandan judiciary collaborate on this." Ambassador Amfray was speaking during a conversation with diplomats that attracted 200 members of the diplomatic corps, including officials from both the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, as well as the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement. Amfray said that much as France was long involved in denying the genocide against the Tutsi and its heavy role, there have been positive strides to ensure a fresh momentum of relations between the two countries. Mukangarambe Immaculée, a survivor of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi from Koto village in Rulindo district, have asked the authorities to assist her in improving her living conditions. Immaculée, who is a 60-year-old woman, said that apart from being listed as a beneficiary, she had not received any assistance, not even furniture or bedding. The head of Ibuka in the Rulindo district, Mrebgaide Alphonsine, stated that they are aware of Immaculée's living conditions and the problem of her cow that had died. Mrebgaide stated that advocacy is being conducted in order for Immaculée to receive a new cow, as well as assistance to help her improve her living conditions. The police in Rutsiro district have arrested 3 illegal mineral dealers with 38 kilograms of casterite. Sylvester Bijenimana, Jangu Have and Barushimana were arrested in a casterite mining concession located in Rusebeya sector, the Merasel, in Kabadibga village. The concession belongs to Beta Generation Machinery Limited. Superintendent of Police Bonaventure Twizeri Kadisizi, the police spokesperson for the Western region, said the suspects were arrested after the mining firm reported the alleged theft of their minerals. He added that the trio belonged to a group that either steals or conducts illegal mining in various concessions and in residence fields.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
According to East African Community Secretary General Peter Matuki, fully integrating South Sudan into the East African Community Customs Union is a process, and the Secretariat is doing everything possible to make it happen. Matuki made the disclosure on Tuesday as he addressed a virtual press conference from his offices in Arusha, Tanzania. Last month, regional lawmakers raised concerns over the slow pace of integrating South Sudan into the East African Community Customs Union ever since the country was admitted into the 6-member bloc 6 years ago. Ethiopian authorities are fighting a new image crisis amid allegations that the government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is trying to conceal evidence of wrongdoing by its forces in Tigray. Last week, Addis Ababa failed to block a budgetary approval for a team of independent UN experts tasked to look into acts of war crimes committed during the war in Tigray. But that loss was compounded by additional findings by rights watchdogs Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International of extrajudicial killings and sexual violations. The European Union has announced it will halt military training missions in Mali, but will keep a presence in the Sahel, Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell said Monday, citing concerns over interference and civilian killings committed by Russian mercenaries from the Wagner Group. He spoke after chairing a meeting of the bloc's foreign ministers that discussed the region. Borrell said it was decided that developments in Mali have forced the European Union to see there were not sufficient guarantees on non-interference by the Wagner Group, a Russian private military organization that France and other countries say is operating in Mali as an armed force. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has blasted vigilante groups for harassing and attacking migrants, likening their behavior to strategies adopted by the apartheid regime to target black people. Last week, a 43-year-old Zimbabwean man, Elvis Nyati, was attacked by a mob and set alight by a group of vigilantes searching for foreign nationals in Diepsloot, a township near Johannesburg. Indonesia's parliament passed on Tuesday a long-awaited bill to tackle sexual violence aimed at providing a legal framework for victims to secure justice in a country where sexual abuse has often been regarded as a private matter. A majority of lawmakers backed the bill at the plenary session in Parliament, overcoming opposition from some conservative groups in the world's biggest Muslim-majority country after 6 years of deliberation. Syrians are mobilizing to support Ukrainians, sharing hard-earned knowledge gleaned from years of war involving Russian forces, such as surviving shelling, helping refugees, and responding to chemical attacks. With both Ukrainians and Syrians seeking accountability for the ravages inflicted by Russian forces in their countries, they feel a unique bond is growing between them. France's conservative former president Nicolas Sarkozy threw his support behind Emmanuel Macron in his bid for re-election on Tuesday, touting Macron's experience in the face of the grave international crisis in Ukraine. Far-right candidate Marine Le Pen, for her part, said she had no plans to pull France out of the European Union despite her deep Euroscepticism. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his wife Kerry Johnson and UK Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak are to receive fines for breaching strict coronavirus lockdown rules. Police have been investigating 12 gatherings at Downing Street and the Cabinet Office after an internal inquiry found Johnson's staff had enjoyed alcohol-fueled parties, with the British leader attending a few of the events himself.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
The Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 123,420,000 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 3 deals on the fixed income market, and 2,282,000 Rwandan francs from 10,700 shares traded in 5 deals on the equities market. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 250 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 2 million Rwandan francs from 8,000 shares traded in 3 deals. I&M Bank counter closed at 44 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 44,000 Rwandan francs from 1,000 shares traded in 1 deal. Bridgeway closed the counter at 140 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 238,000 Rwandan francs from 1,700 shares traded in 1 deal. Simerwa closed the counter at 120 Rwandan francs, M10 Rwanda at 180 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs, National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs, Uchuri Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs, and RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.7 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.9 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.28 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.29 Rwandan francs. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.5 Rwandan francs. The US dollar buying price was 1,009 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,029 Rwandan francs. The British pound buying price was 1,314 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,340 Rwandan francs. The euro buying price was 1,097 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,119 Rwandan francs. Today's weather forecast from the Rwanda Meteorology Department. From 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning, it is expected to be partly cloudy in all parts of the country. The average wind speed expected is between 3 meters per second and 4 meters per second. The minimum temperature is to be 11 degrees Celsius tomorrow morning in Nyabihu district. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.